Welcome to the Watering Hole. We're sitting down today with Mr. Austin Meade. You're playing tonight at the Vanguard here in Tulsa. What's it like to be in Tulsa again?
It's good. I like coming up to Tulsa. There's a lot of cool spots here in this area to sightsee at. So, I don't know, man. There's a bunch of cool little businesses around here.
Yeah.
There was some good soul food around the corner last time we were here. So we usually try to find the good food spots.
Is that something you do like at every location? Do you guys kind of explore and go find some like nice food spots? Or?
If we have time, yeah, and then we find our favorites and we'll just kind of meander around. But we're kind of creatures of habit. So once we find a spot, we're like, oh yeah, we're going to whatever, Little Rock. We're going to Sticky's, you know.
Yeah.
And it kind of actually the first time we were ever in Tulsa, we were playing Canes with Stoney, and his guitar player Jesse Duke was like, hey, you guys need to go get hot dogs from the Coney place down there. So Willie, our guitar player, was like, oh yeah, Jesse Duke said go get chili cheese conies. I was like, dude, I think that's a bad idea before jumping around on stage.
Yeah, probably so.
Like, show was about to start, and we were like, all right, we got to find the shitters, boys. So
Is there like a place where it's like a pizza place is what you try to find, or like a burger spot? Is there a specific type of something you look for, or is it just like open to anything?
it's open to anything, but I mean, I eat a lot of Asian food, and anywhere that's every now and then you're craving a good salad or a steak, you know, so
yeah.
we'll go get some of that. There seems to be Texas Roadhouses like everywhere, so and they usually do this like family meal, so you can feed the whole band for like $75. It's pretty sick.
So when you say Asian food, are you brave enough for a buffet?
I'm not really a buffet man anymore. When I was younger, I was definitely a buffet man. I think I actually had, it might have been my 10th birthday party at Dragon Palace. You know, that was pretty sick. We got the private room. I remember getting a yo-yo, and
Unlimited fortune cookies?
there was a lot of those, yeah. But yeah, we don't do many buffets anymore just because I've seen some shit, you know. But like a lot of Thai food too. That's a hot one in the band for sure.
Yeah.
And it's just easy to make, like rice bowls and chicken and stuff, and keep the leftovers. It's not like, you know, you get fried stuff and it just is terrible in the
Right.
fridge
Yeah.
after a couple days. And when you live in a box for like months at a time, you're like, all right, what's the biggest bang for the buck here? If I get a large plate, can I like keep it for a couple days? You know?
Yeah. So I got a funny story. So I was it was early like after we started doing the podcast, we did a podcast with a band. Some of our friends, the Smoking Oaks, if you ever heard of them.
Yeah.
They're out of Yukon, and I was talking to their lead singer Colton on the podcast, and he was talking about some of his like biggest inspirations, stuff he's listening to, and he brought up you and your album Abstract Mind.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
so he was like, go listen to this album. It's a great album front to back. So I was like, it was like the next day or something. I was driving actually coming through Tulsa, and it's a song, Queen of the Letdown.
Oh yeah.
And I was listening to it, and right when the bass drops, like at the beginning of the song, you blew out my speakers. So I think you owe me a 2010 Toyota car door speaker, if you don't mind. I'm glad I finally got to catch up to you, so I can finally get my speaker.
You can bill that to Taylor Kimball, the producer.
Yeah. So I really do love that song too. It's a great song.
Thanks.
And I always thought it was funny that whenever we were talking about doing this the first time before it got snowed out last time, I was like, you know, that Austin Meade's actually what I blew up my car speaker to, because he's been in my car many times, and he's like, this sounds terrible.
Yeah.
So
That song in particular is really like grungy guitar.
Yeah.
You know, it's like really 90s sounding, and then when it kicks in, you're like, oh shit.
yeah.
That whole album has a bunch of like grunge influence guitar tones on it. And we went on like a real deep trip to write that whole thing. That's why it's called Abstract Art of an Unstable Mind.
Yeah.
Because based around that song, Abstract Art JPEG, you know.
Yeah.
Which is called that because the song Abstract Art is about being a picture, like a painting on the wall in a museum, and you know, not everybody like hears the stories behind the songs, but I just thought it would be cool to make the song title look like a JPEG when it like comes up on your screen.
I was actually going to ask you about that particular that song title, And I'm glad I got the answer.
Yeah, it's like I started thinking about. So Willie had that beautiful guitar part already, like in his stockpiles. He like stockpiles riffs and stuff,
Yeah.
and then we'll sit down to write, and I'll have some really, usually sad words, and then I'll be like, "Hey, this sounds just like this idea that I have in my head," and so I wanted to write a song about that exact thing. You know, like what if you are in the painting on the museum wall, and like you see everybody walking by, like they're admiring you for what you are, but there's no mirror, like you have no idea what you are. It just felt like a really, I don't know, interesting thought in life, because I feel the same way sometimes. And then turns out like the guy that is in the song singing, you know, he's the captain of a ship that's going down in the middle of the ocean. He's just on the front of it, and he knows he's going down. And so it's I always wanted to do like a full movie over that. I think that would be a sick movie. Even like an extended music video just over that idea.
Yeah.
There's a lot of production involved in that to get a ship out there in the
Yeah.
middle of the ocean, and like all the safety precautions and shit.
The safety precautions are optional, of course.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
they
all.
are until you start hiring a crew and everybody wants safety this and safety that, which
Yeah.
I get it. But
So another thing I was going to ask you about the album is you guys have a lot of skits in that album, the LMAM.
right.
What's the story behind the skits?
So LMAM radio is Loser Mentality, and then my initials Austin Meade, and I used to work for a radio station when I was in high school, KTX 106 in Brenham, Texas, and I was a board op there. And then it's kind of how I got into the music scene. I would be working boards just like this one, you know, and guys would come in like Texas country artists for interviews. And I remember seeing Mike Ryan before he had like just put out his first EP. So this was probably 2008 or 2009, and guys like Fowler and Roger Krager would like come into the studio and do their interviews at the station, and I was like the one pushing the buttons. And then I'd go, if they were playing the county fair, you know, I'd go backstage and get them to sign a bunch of stuff for the radio station, and then we'd like throw it out to the crowd. So I've always really enjoyed radio stuff because I, you know, spent some time doing it, and some of my best friends are radio personalities through like Texas and Oklahoma and stuff. So it's always interested me, and I wanted to make that album to sound like, you know, you're listening to a radio station, partially because there's a lot of different genres on that same record.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted, like, it starts where the night shift DJ, he's like hungover as shit, and he's like coming off of a bender, and then it has to go to like the morning thing. And it was fun to just intertwine those characters with our own personalities and kind of running jokes we had. I'm sure some of that gets lost to people that don't know the story, and they're probably like, why the hell is this skit here? But we were so lost in the sauce on that one as far as the creative aspect goes that I was having a great time like putting it together. And I thought it was a cool way to like make the record flow together. If you notice some of the, I mean, we made the background music in those things too. It's if you listen to those skits and you listen to the background, it's like Willie usually on an acoustic and like me singing and playing a shaker, and then our drummer was like playing some kind of Latin beats and stuff, and we're actually singing lyrics to some of the other songs, but we're doing it in like a totally different style, like just jacking around.
Yeah.
So if you listen to those skits again, like try to listen to the music that's going on in the background, because it's just us riffing shit, like making it up with the lyrics that are in the record.
That's awesome.
Off topic here for a second, but you almost lost your bus driver. I don't know if you know this or not.
Oh, really?
But we almost had him held captive back here. So we moved this couch when we came in here.
Oh.
We've never set up this fast either. We normally take about an hour to set up.
Yeah.
We got this up in like 20 minutes, hence how it's kind of a mess. But we shift this couch right here, and we're like halfway into setting up, and a guy walks out of this closet back here, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
That's
I
my
had
dad.
no idea you were in here. Oh, really?
Yeah, that's my dad. Oh, really? It's his birthday, too. He would have stayed back there all day.
Oh my gosh, it's even better.
We would have just had to funnel him Modelo's to the back.
So on your first album, you got a song called Arkansas.
Yeah.
Can you kind of walk through the story on that song? It's such a, I don't know, it's such a different song. It kind of caught my attention. I'm a big fan of that song.
So Chief of the Sinners, that's the record you're talking about. I made that when I was in college. I wasn't even old enough to get into a bar, and I entered like the Larry Joe Taylor songwriter competition. I think I got beat by Parker McCollum that year, I'm pretty sure. It was either him or Dalton Domino. So Anyways,
Pretty
I met,
stiff competition that year, sounds like.
yeah, there's a lot of great songwriters in that. But I met Josh Serrato and Ben Hussey, who were starting up a studio because Six Market Boulevard had just broken up. And this was before it was called Melody Mountain Ranch or anything like that. And it was just a single wide trailer out at the place they called the Compound, and Red Shahan lived in the trailer next door, and Brandon Adams was right around there. And I could go into a whole day of talking about that record, but if we're talking about Arkansas specifically, so I worked like some oil field stuff and fracking and whatnot when I was in college to kind of just try to pay bills, and so I took like every last penny I made from that to survive, and then got a really good deal to make that record. Like, those guys did it for practically nothing, but it was just kind of me reflecting about wanting to get out of that job. And we played a couple of weird places too in Arkansas, you know, so it kind of overlaps between oil field and the music industry. But I'm trying to remember the words to that chorus. I remember the guitar part. Shit, I have to look at the lyrics, dude. But actually, let me pull them up. Let me pull them up real quick if you're wanting a more in-depth thing. Let's see if Amazon Music even has my lyrics. That's a very...
Was it, what's the is it, it's like Lyric Genius or something that always pop every time I look up a song.
Some of those are so wrong on...
Yeah, I did definitely find some wrong.
On a song, Hurt You to Hear This, off the Black Sheep record, there was a... I say friend circle looks more like a boneyard, and somebody sends me a screenshot and they're like, friend circle looks more like a barnyard. What do you mean by that? Like, I didn't write barnyard. Oh man, I honestly am having a flashback staring at these lyrics because now I'm remembering the music that goes with it. Oh, there's a cool pre-chorus on this song. Dude, I haven't played this song in like probably 7 or 8 years. Oh yeah, it's like, I've got 2 tickets in my hand, I can't decide which seat to get in. Mm-hmm. That's just me talking about, you know, should I go get a real job or should I do this forever? And I guess I'm still here, you know, 11 years later or whatever it is. But yeah, out here and chasing the silence, blah, 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 blah. God, these words could have been so much better. But I think I was like 18 or 19 when I wrote this. So yeah, stopped doing what I love and started chasing the pay. Like, a lot of people that are especially from Arkansas, they ask me about this song a bunch, and it's pretty much just me being like, yo, do I want to do this job or do I want to go do what I want to do, you know? Mm-hmm. This is a much simpler time now. I'm writing all this stuff that's like, abstract art was the exact opposite of that. It was like all coded within lyrics and stories and characters and shit. But that's the thing, there's no rules in this business, so you can literally make whatever you want to make, and then you just hope it sticks. I don't know.
Yeah. So, who is Austin Meade when you're not out on the road? Do you have like some sort of hobby that somebody would find interesting? Like, are you secretly like a bird watcher? Or?
No, I mean, I like to do a lot of hunting and like I play a lot of golf.
Okay.
You know, I've got a family. Yeah, I've got a family at the house, so dude, I'm always fixing shit. I'm working on the house or the bus or a truck, you know, that kind of stuff. It's just blue collar, you know.
Yeah.
Whatever. I definitely enjoy traveling a bunch, but we tour so much now. Sometimes when I go home, I just want to like, I have such a long list of shit to catch up on. It's like, dude, I'm gonna be here for 2 weeks, just like getting this done and this done and this done before I leave for the next tour. So that's kind of the life I've chosen.
Yeah, I feel that, like, it's like we both have day jobs and then we do this, but then I have a house and a car and a wife and kid, and I feel like I wish I could just take literally like 2 weeks off and work on everything I need to work on, get it done, and then be like, okay, I don't have to go home and worry about anything for like a week or two.
Yeah, I always say that same thing, but then as soon as I get home, some shit happens and I gotta have like calls with somebody, or like, you know, this show changes or that show changes, or like, oh, the album's due, so we got to finish the mixes, or like, oh, now we need a music video, oh, now we need this, and then I'm like, shit, I need to write the next record, so then I'll be gone to write the next record. There's a lot of travel that goes on that's not just like show travel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So even if I'm only playing like 100 or 150 shows a year, I'm still traveling probably like 250 days out of the year, if if not 275.
Wow.
So there's a lot of movement there.
Where do you go to do a lot of your writing?
I used to just do it all on my couch. Like abstract art was written on my couch in my house. With Willie would come over, and it's before I had a kid, so we'd stay up and I'd like just come up with crazy ideas at 3 a.m. and we just do it with just acoustics. And then the last record, really the last 2 records, like when Blackout came out, we started going to Nashville to write with some other rock and metal writers, and because I love like the rock and metal scene. And so a lot of times we'll fly to Nashville now and meet up with some of our buddies and just veg out for like, I mean, we only do like a song a day when we go right now, but I'll go there for like a week at a time and have rights set up like almost every day. And I'll leave town with like 5 new songs, and then we'll listen back to the demos and try to cut it down to what we think fits like this record or this project, and then just keep building the stockpile, really.
So I'm going to backtrack real quick to the golf.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about your golf game. Are you a for fun golfer, or are you like serious when you get out there?
I hadn't played in a while, so for a while I was telling myself it was for fun, but I was still getting really competitive and pissed. I mean, we're super competitive, but I mean, there's some times when we won't be able to play for like, a couple months at a time. A couple months at a time, we won't be able to play. So once we get back into the groove of things, then yeah, we're out there, we're like betting and shit. We've got like a couple pretty good golfers on the squad. Mm-hmm. So whether they think it's a competition or not, it's always a competition.
What's your average?
Average? Shit, I don't know. I'm probably somewhere in the low to mid 80s right now. It's not amazing.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Not compared to some other musicians.
Yeah,
but
that's true. But compared to the average golfer, that's very good, very above average.
Yeah, we finally got Willie, our lead guitar player, into golf, and every now and then he gets a hold of one and knocks the shit out of it. But most of the time, it goes into the neighborhood next door.
Yeah. That sounds like my golf career so far. It's either 2 feet in front of me or very hard.
Or 2 feet behind me.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every now and then you catch a shank, yeah.
Yeah.
So who's out there on the road playing music that you think people should pay more attention to? Like, is there someone out there that you feel is like extra underrated?
I've been friends with Mitchell Ferguson for a long time. He's the first one that comes to mind. He's just so talented, dude. Like, incredible voice, great writer. And I feel like he's catching some steam now. He's really funny. He's one of my best friends, dude. Super entertaining. I'm sure he's about to probably catch a wave.
Yeah. That's interesting. Last weekend we were at Canes and we did Dexter and the Moonrocks, and Mitchell was there. They were loading in as we were leaving, but yeah, he's one that we would like to catch. Yeah.
He's a hard worker, dude, and he, like I said, just so talented at everything. He just, pretty much anything he touches sounds awesome.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of soul.
Is there somebody in particular you're listening to right now, whether it's like an older album or like an older song, something that's kind of stuck in your head right now that every time you get in the car when you're home you got to throw on?
Man, I could go down a long list. Or I'm kind of like brainwashed right now because we've been finishing up the mixes on our album. So I've been listening to like, oh, we tweaked this, we tweaked that. I'm like, I don't want to hear myself anymore, dude. Most of the time, though, like, we listen to a band called Movements a lot. And I go back to a lot of stuff from the early 2000s all the time, like Incubus and Paramore. Then I'll do like a deep dive on Kings of Leon or something, But I've been, like, honestly kind of digging into like the songwriting aspect of a lot of these Nashville guys, because people can say what they want about how a song sounds, like, oh, it's too Nashville this or too Nashville that, but a lot of that writing, and it's like hard to write that hooky of melodies, like the stuff that Hardy's doing. I know he's already blown up, but sometimes I'll listen to like new stuff out of Nashville, more on the countryside, just to kind of be like, okay, they went this way with this melody, and I'm kind of thinking of it like a scientist. I'm like, maybe I should try to do this or do this, in my own version, in my own way. But a lot of times I end up going back to like stoner grunge stuff. And I feel like our music is kind of a mix of that with maybe like an alternative pop vocal over the top of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you... Go ahead.
Do you have a genre of music that you will never listen to?
Dude, we listen to so much stuff. I mean, we listen to like oldies. When Christmas time comes around, we put on like old 50s and 60s Christmas music.
Yeah.
We listen to a lot of hip hop and R&B. We listen to a lot of alternative. Every now and then we'll put on like some electronic stuff, but to me that's more like when you're vibing in the boat and you're just like
Yeah.
not really paying attention. You're just like drinking with your buddies. And it's
Background
like,
music for vibes.
Dude, I just found out about like some of these artists that are from like the Mexican scene, dude. There's so many artists that have millions of listeners and millions of followers that I've never heard of. I just saw Cody Johnson post something like yesterday with this guy I'd personally never heard of, and I was like, who is this guy? Look him up, like just millions of listeners. Like the dude's huge. So now the last 2 days I've been like, all right, what can I find out from this scene that from another country that I've just never dug into? But I'm usually open to checking stuff out. Music's really crazy how like you could be the biggest thing in another country and somebody over here could not have heard of you before, and vice versa. Like we could be huge in a country we've never been to. Like I think it was New Zealand or something. I got a notification, like an email to like Payphone from the Waves record, which is from 2019. All of a sudden it was like in the top 5 on their iTunes charts out of nowhere. This was a couple months ago. I've never been there. I was like, how did this happen? I don't know how that happened, but now I'm curious. Like, do I need to go to New Zealand?
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Do you have a song that you put out that you feel like never got the recognition it deserved, or something that kind of a song maybe even that just meant more to you than some of the others?
A lot of the Abstract record, yeah, because we grew a lot during the Black Sheep record because it was like Happier Alone, Dopamine Drop, Cave In, and all that stuff that happened, and obviously we had hopped on for the Happier Alone thing, which really helped us out. It was awesome. And then I don't know, I felt like the Abstract record was going to be like, holy shit. You mentioned it earlier, like a lot of musicians and people that are into music love that record, and it's still growing, but it didn't take off in like a commercial sense. I thought like Dial Tone off of that record, I was like, oh dude, this is a smash. Like there's no doubt in my mind that Dial Tone is not going to be like our most popular song, coming up. And we love to play it live. It's a kick-ass song and like super intricate and complicated to play, which maybe is why it didn't take off. But like I felt like that chorus, memories of when we were young before the alcohol and the drugs, I was like, oh dude, I could jam this shit all day long. And for whatever reason, that one like never went to like our top 5 on Spotify. But I don't know, dude, that could be a marketing thing. Like maybe it eventually comes back around and people are like, holy shit, this is my jam.
Yeah.
Are you a comedy fan at all?
Yeah, we watch a lot of comedy. We're always looking for stuff to watch on the bus, so we watch like all the Kill Tonys and Shane Gillis and all that stuff.
Perfect.
Do you have a favorite comedian at the moment?
What is that guy's name? The Cam guy?
Cam Patterson?
Yeah, Cam Patterson's been really hilarious. I mean, we love Shane Gillis' stuff. When his special came out, dude, we watched it probably times in a row, and we still make jokes about that thing all the time. Chris D'Elia is pretty funny too. Been enjoying his stuff. That guy's funny because he can just talk to himself on a podcast for like 2 hours, and it's usually pretty entertaining.
Do you listen to other podcasts, like informative podcasts or anything like that?
I used to a bunch, like when I was driving more, but now the bus is like, when you switch to a bus, it's usually really noisy in there, and most of the time now, because like my dad's driving for us, like I'm hanging out in the front with dad and like trying to help navigate. So I haven't listened to as many, and then when I'm at home, like, I got a baby, so if I sit down on the couch for like 1 minute, he's like jumping off the countertop or something. Yeah. But we used to listen to, I mean, a lot of like informative music stuff about the music business, or whenever all the political stuff was hot, we were listening to stuff about that and all the updates. And I won't ever listen to war podcasts while driving again, because we listened to one and started barely raining and hit an oil slick, and the van did a 360 and flipped the trailer. And so me and Willie both decided, like, will never listen to World War II podcast while they're behind the wheel again.
It's one of those like PTSD things. Anytime you hear someone talking about Battle of the Bulge, you like get a flashback.
Yeah, pretty much. We'll just look at each other and be like, "This is it."
Do you and Dad ever get like the classic father-son moment of the directions? Like, no, we need to go this way. No, we need to go this way. Chris says yes.
Yeah. He's got a certain kind of GPS he likes to use, which I don't care for. And like I've been down a lot of these highways because I've been doing this for like over a decade.
Yeah.
So the GPS would be like, turn right here, and I'm like, you're gonna hit a bridge, or that's gonna be a tiny street, and we have 60-something feet of equipment here. So yeah, there's a lot of times when we'll butt heads on that for a minute, but I mean it just comes with the territory.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool to have him out here, and I hope he's having fun.
Yeah.
I hope he's having fun. He gets to see some cool shit. He also gets to see. He didn't used to get to see like the bad shows.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're playing a lot of new spots. We have been like just hitting the road so hard for 4 or 5 years, just trying to grow new areas. And a lot of it's not Texas and Oklahoma, dude. Like when we get sent to the Northeast, it's like a different animal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, between crowd size and just navigating around the place. You know, so he's getting to see a lot of the country that he hasn't been able to see, and sometimes it's kind of a daunting task with the big ass bus, you know, going up mountains and tiny streets and big cities. But usually,
did he have prior experience with heavy hauling, as I like to call it?
no, he's a Baptist pastor. I just convinced him to.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was doing a lot of it, and then dude, I was like killing myself from not sleeping and the stress of like being in charge of every little single thing, you know. And plus he wanted to move closer once we had a kid, so it's been cool. We've been busy, like really busy, but when we do slow down, like he'll be right down the road from me and come hang out with his grandkid and everything, so it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Are you an Apple or Spotify guy?
I really don't use either one of those. I'm a cheap ass. I have Amazon Prime, so I just use Amazon.
Okay.
Wow, okay.
I think the quality sucks sometimes on there, like because they change the way they stream it based on your cell service.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But
I don't know.
you get all the Garth Brooks catalog.
Oh yeah.
Except for the limited Bass Pro drops that they do from time to time.
Right. I think a lot of the guys have Spotify, but and like Spotify's really informative, but they pay artists so terribly, and there's always just like such bad news around them that I'm not giving them my money. Like they already make so much money off of me. Like
Yeah.
why don't these streaming services, by the way, like once you reach a certain amount of listeners and you're making them like thousands of dollars, why wouldn't they just give everybody in the band like a free account? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes that's a great idea.
You are
Yeah.
like
So-
what's the deal with that?
If you're on your okay, I'm not sure how this works. So like if you pull up your Spotify, like where you put out music, is that an account where you can listen to music, or is that just for distribution?
I mean, what do you mean, the artist page?
Yeah. Like can you, when you're on Spotify, or I guess you don't use it, but if you were on Spotify logged into your artist page, like can you also listen to music? Or?
You still have to have like a personal account to listen to music, but you like claim yourself as an artist on all of them, you know, so you can see like stats of what song's being streamed the most and like where it's getting streamed at, which is really informative stuff, especially when you're like trying to plan out a tour.
But you don't have, but they don't include a premium.
No.
What?
That's
terrible.
It's
crazy.
always been a question that I've been like, dude, you guys are making thousands, you know, and there's some artists that are making millions on, you know, like they didn't even give Luke Combs like a free Spotify account,
Yeah.
or you know, Khalid or anything. Like, dude, come on, Drake should have his own Spotify free account.
Yeah.
He probably does, but
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a great. That doesn't make any sense because you're a kind of like an employee. You're making them.
well, you're licensing and then
Yeah.
your product. Yeah. I mean, we're the only reason that anyone uses those apps, but now there's so many artists that's how we can go into this for a long time too. That's how the music industry is like cheapening itself, because there's always somebody that's like, I'll do it cheaper, and then it's like, doesn't mean it's always good. I mean, sometimes the cheap shit is good. Sometimes somebody makes a record in their bedroom and it's great music, but there's definitely more shitty music out there than there is good music, for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
So what kind of stuff do you have coming up in the next little bit that you want people to know about? Tours, music, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, this is like we're at the tail end of this Happier Alone Forever tour, which has been just a celebration of that song being out for 5 years. That's like the song that kind of changed my life as far as being able to like tour, full time and really doing it. And when this wraps up, I've got some regional stuff, and then we're doing a summer tour, which we'll announce soon. And like I said, I just finished a record, so that's going to be rolling out this year. I'm really excited about that. And it's like kind of leans a little bit more towards, so I've been told, like the Black Sheep sound and kind of like that Black Sheep direction, because we went really heavy with the last releases, like Pretty Little Waste and Insignificant Other. There's still some super heavy shit on this new record, but there's also some stuff that's kind of reminiscent of that Happier Alone vibe. Like, not every single song's like, which is funny because Black Sheep that was the whole point of that record, is me just like sticking up my middle fingers and being like, if you guys don't like it, and then people liked it. I was like, oh shit, okay, I guess I got to do this more often.
Yeah. That was going to be my last question, but since you brought this up, it totally reminded me. I was talking to Lance earlier from Treaty Oak. So can you run us through how that whole song came about, doing that collab with the two of them?
Yeah, so I had heard about those guys from Taylor Kimball, who produced 2 of our records, and he started working with them. He was like, check these guys out. And so he sent me the record that they were working on that he produced for him before it came out, and I was like, damn, this is really unique and cool. I love Sam's voice and the way he writes. And there's just something really like raw and kind of like punk about what they're doing, really grungy, but it's still country stuff. And so I ended up chatting with Sam, and we always shoot each other like new songs back and forth just to see. Oh shit, yeah, he actually sent me one the other night I gotta go listen to. We'll like give each other notes on new demos. So I sent him Insignificant Other before it came out, and I was like, hey, what do you think about this? And a handful of other ones, and he was like, man, I think that's like really pop punk and love the breakdown. And so I was like, hey, any chance you would want to write your own verse on it and we could extend the bridge and have something cool? And so he just was like, hell yeah. And then like a week later, they played a show that was kind of close to Kimball's place, so they brought one of these microphones onto the back of their tour bus. They just cut it there.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we kind of rearranged it a little bit, but the cool thing about that too is like when it came out, they let us open for them in Corpus, which I'm from like down in South Texas, so that was a huge show for us because, at their headline shows, dude, there's thousands of people now. It's pretty badass, and I think there was like 5,000 people at that thing, and they came out, did the song with us. Like, everybody was super pumped, and just a really cool moment. And then we've just become friends, talking about random shit since then, and we did the Mediocre Christmas Vacation tour, which that was such a blast.
It looked crazy on all
pretty
the
epic.
social media.
I really hope we do it again. Those were the craziest acoustic shows I've ever been to. Like, we started with like, just random ideas of decorating the stage and like the whole Christmas Vacation movie, and then like started playing the shows, and I was like, hey, we should throw some stuff out. So we like threw out Santa hats and like these stockings, and then I went back into the green room while they were playing a song to like grab a drink or something. I saw this jug of milk, and I was like, I just kept thinking about that thing. He needs some milk. So then I walked out with it, and I was like, who wants to chug a gallon of milk? And these people were like, me, because people will do anything like on the front row.
Yeah.
So I was like, this will be entertaining if nothing else. So they're like pouring all this milk on themselves at an acoustic show.
Oh, God.
And then that night I was like, dude, we need eggnog, and we need eggnog bongs. So we like made these like beer bongs from the whatever supply store, and I got like sewage hose, so it looked like Uncle Eddie's sewage hose, and we were like running them down to people. Dude, people were just chugging nog. So every day it became a thing on the rider where I was like, hey, I need 4 gallons of eggnog. And the venue was like, why do you need so much eggnog? I was like, you'll see. You will see.
I need 4 gallons of eggnog, and you're going to need a mop. So.
Yeah. Dude, there was already so much beer on the floor, I don't even think the eggnog made a dent, because that's like Sam's thing, is getting people riled up and rowdy. And so he would be chunking beers, like, and getting everybody pumped up during... While he wasn't playing, like during Deja Vu and Happier Alone and stuff, and I'd be throwing out random goodies, and we ended up having people on stage to like sing songs with us. And then by the last show, we had like a table set up for VIPs. It wasn't like a paid thing. It was like, hey, we picked out random people in the crowd.
Oh, really?
And we'd be like, hey, you, and 2 of your friends, y'all come sit up here and listen to 2 songs. And it really was like super interactive, dude.
Yeah.
It was pretty awesome.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I hope you guys do that again because we gotta come out to that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, it was pretty epic. I think we're talking about it. We'll see if it works with their schedule, but I'll definitely be open if they're open to it.
Awesome. Well, Austin, we appreciate you coming on, and it was all very last minute, so I appreciate you working with us on
No
that. It's
worries,
been a
man.
blast, and we'd love to do it again next time you're in the area. So.
Yeah, man. We appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all soon.
Awesome. Thank you.
Later.